It begins in a very extraordinary way. Begins with in the middle to begin with, right? That's the beginning is in the middle. The beginning is the present reality of the pilgrim who finds himself lost. But it's more in that first line. In the middle of the journey of our life. What is he saying? I think it's fairly clear. The first conceit and the fundamental conceit of the poem is that life is a journey, which means that we are always on the way. We don't know where we are going yet. He will find out soon, which means that we are displaced, which means that we're going to have a number of adventures. It means that we are not yet where we want to be. Life is a journey. In fact, he will go on not only calling it in the middle of the journey, he also calls it our life. That's possessive, our life. It's his way of establishing one fact, that this is not really yet a unique experience. It's something we all share, and it's something which might also concern us. That we are also, not only he is in the journey of his life, but we too are in that journey of the common journey of our life. And then in contrast to that, there is now an autobiographical focus. There is a stress on I found, I came to myself within a dark wood and so on, I. So this is going to be very much the story, once again, very much as the Vita Nuova, an autobiographical story. It can only be a personal story, but here the self is going to see the world, is going to see himself through the prism of the world. He will enter a public space. The great difference, I will say, between the Vita Nuova, which we just looked at last time, and the Divine Comedy is the following. The Vita Nuova was destined to fail as a narrative, exactly because the protagonist went on drawing us and drawing himself within the solitude, the interiority of his own life, a life which was completely disengaged from the concerns for the outside world. The Divine Comedy starts exactly with that kind of shipwreck, the shipwreck of some other intellectual activities that he will go on describing, and I will describe with you. As soon as we read this first line, I came to myself in a dark wood, and if you read a lot of traditional commentators, many traditional commentators will tell you, oh, well, Dante is here in a state of sin. The dark wood is really the condition of spiritual, maybe, despair. He's an impasse. We know he doesn't know where to go. I think that this allegorizing a little bit too easy, and it's not really, we have no evidence for this in the poem yet. We don't know what we do know is that Dante is lost in a landscape that is terrifying. He is caught within it. He's clueless about how he got there. I don't even know how. He goes on to say, I don't know how I got myself in that situation, whatever that situation was. But he knows one thing, that he wants to get out of it. He understands that. He does not know yet how he has to get out of the situation, but he knows that he has to get out of that entanglement of the wood. And then he goes on, how hard it is, etc. So bitter is that death is hard anymore. But to give account, that's the next tercet of the good which I found there, I will tell of other things I noted there. In a way, the poem is already over. He's now shifting from the narrative of events, I was lost in the dense, savage, harsh wood of the night. His gaze rends this night, tries to find out, he cannot see anything beyond himself. And then immediately he says, but to tell you the good I noted there, I have to tell you other things. The poem has, right from the start, the double narrative focus. The first focus is that he's going to tell us the story of a pilgrim who is caught in what we call the diachronic, the time-bound, the daily events, a number of encounters which he cannot quite decide as to their meaning. So he's led by Virgil, as we're going to find out soon, but he doesn't understand what's happening to him. And then there is the second focus, and it's the focus of the poet, who has seen it all and enjoys what we would call an omniscient perspective. And the whole poem really moves around this double axis, the axis of a synchronic view, synoptic view of the poet, who has seen, he becomes a poet because the pilgrim has had this experience, and then he goes on telling us about this experience. That's what I call a synoptic, an omniscient narrator. And then he looks at what the pilgrim did not know. There's a kind of irony in this discrepancy between the diachronic viewpoint of the pilgrim and the synoptic viewpoint of the poet. It goes without saying that the structure is not that neat. You will see that there are moments when Dante will go on, one's point of view will encroach upon the other. So I will tell you more about this particular structure